Brock Lesnar, he buried one member of the New Day, and he has done it again. Welcome back, guys, to your WWE Day 1. First time ever, the first pay-per-view, the first Day 1 pay-per-view, the first pay-per-view of 2022. Was it a good show? Is it a good start to the year for WWE, or was the show a failure? We're going to cover it throughout this review, but overall, so far, I'm actually pretty positive. I thought it was a decent show. We'll explain it more in detail, but it was probably better than I thought it would be, especially after the announcement earlier today that Roman Reigns would not be competing. I thought it was a bit of a bummer. We were going to go from 2 world title matches down to 1. But the 1 world title match we got was actually pretty good. It was epic. It's a shame it was only 8 minutes long, but it was a great 8 minutes. Sometimes you'd rather a great 8 minutes than a shite 30 minutes. So, first we kick off the pre-show with Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus the Cesaro and Ricochet. The team of Sheamus and Ridge Holland won, but I say the team, it was basically Sheamus that won. It turned out to be a 2-on-1 match. Ridge Holland ended up breaking his nose. He got took off to the back, couldn't even continue. I don't get it. Back in the day, people were continuing with broken necks. Ridge Holland broke his nose and he got carted off to the back, never to be seen again. But he's a bum anyway, so we don't want to see him. Sheamus ends up hitting the white noise on Ricochet on the outside, then hits the brogue kick on Cesaro and wins the match clean. But essentially Sheamus wins a handicap match, so it doesn't look too good for Cesaro and Ricochet that they couldn't beat Sheamus, and Sheamus didn't even need to cheat to win. I guess it was a decent pre-show match. I win for Sheamus, but really, who cares? Doesn't matter. Then we move on to the main show. The Usos defending the belts against the New Day. The Usos win. They defended their WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It was a decent match. The crowd were marking out, this is awesome. Pat McAfee was agreeing. It was alright, but we've seen this loads of times. I mean, it was a decent match to start the show. I'm not going to deny it, but I'm just kind of sick of seeing the Usos versus the New Day. Wasn't something that I wanted to see. Definitely wasn't my match tonight. In fairness, I probably wouldn't even put this in the top 3 matches of the night, but it was a decent start to the show. Fast-paced action. In the end, the Usos win with double super kick, then they hit like a double splash, and that's enough there to put away the team of the New Day. Kofi Kingston taking the pinfall. King Woods tries to save it. The whole King gimmick pisses me off. Why does everybody that win King or Queen of the Ring need to do the royalty gimmick? Did you see Brock Lesnar looking like an absolute gimp? Did we get King Lesnar when he won the Royal Rumble in 2002? No, we didn't. Absolutely not. So yeah, I mean, the Usos win, but just drop the whole King Woods shit in the hand of the King. Nobody cares. Anyway, speaking of nobody cares, up next with Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss with Happy Corbin in his side. Why was this on the pay-per-view? And it went 9 minutes and 45 seconds too long. That's how long the match lasted. It didn't need to be that long. It didn't need to be on the show. Drew McIntyre wins. Anybody could have seen this coming. And it was just garbage. Absolute garbage. So, worst match of the night by a country mile. We didn't need to see it. Didn't want to see it. Hopefully we never see it again. Up next with RK Bro, Orton and Riddle defending the titles against the Street Profits. Orton and Riddle came out with a couple of hip-hop guys. I don't know who they were supposed to be, but never heard of them. Apparently they do music. I doubt their music was any good. They didn't even perform. I think we were told earlier in the night they were going to perform. They didn't perform. Maybe they sucked that bad that they didn't want to perform, so we didn't get them. The match itself wasn't that bad. Orton and Riddle retain their belts. In the end, they win due to an elevated RKO. Orton and Ford are battling in the ring. Riddle sneaks in, flapjacks Ford up into the air. Orton catches them mid-air. RKO goes for the collar, gets the pin. They win. Then they end to celebrate with the whole hip-hop gang. Then the Street Profits get in and they raise the hand to RK Bro and they watch Orton and Riddle celebrate, and everyone leaves the ring happily ever after. Honestly, didn't they get it? I thought it was a bit shit. Didn't they get the Street Profits breaking up? We didn't get anybody turning heel. We just got the Street Profits being friendly, and they were happy that they lost. So, I mean, it is what it is. Up next, we had Edge taking on The Miz. This was a great match. The Miz doesn't get credit, but this was a really Really good match, good technical wrestling match with, a bit of a brawling as well. But overall, it was a good in-ring match. Lots of big moves hit, lots of near falls. And I actually felt like this one could have went either way. I thought the Miz was actually going to win this, and at times it looked like he was going to win it, but he just couldn't seem to put Edge away. Locked in the figure four lock, kept didn't understand why he went for the figure four lock. Stole Ric Flair's move, a move that never beat anybody. If he's going to steal a move, should he not do like the Stone Cold Stunner or the Hogan leg drop? I mean, he applies the figure four that Ric Flair barely beat anybody with, and I know it's because Ric Flair, did take the Miz under his wing on Raw for like 2 episodes, but still, I mean, come on, the figure four never beat anybody when Ric Flair applied it, so why does the Miz think he's going to beat anybody? Then, towards the end of the match, the Maurice hits Edge with like a purse or something like that. Miz hits him with the skull crushing finale. Thought it was going to be a free count. Edge kicks out at like 2.5, 2 3/4. Then the next minute, the camera pans to the entrance ramp, and we've got Beth Phoenix. And you could see this coming a mile away. Sooner or later, they're going to go with the mixed tag match. But you've got Beth Phoenix standing at the top of the ramp with this, like, just over dramatic, serious, I want to kill you sort of face. And it just looks so phony. I mean, this is the sort of face you would have if someone murders your entire family. Not just because Maurice, hit Edge with a handbag. Definitely not. But here, Beth Phoenix was looking at Maurice as if she was possessed, as if she, wanted to rip every strand of blonde hair out of her face. And then she keeps staring at her for 10 seconds, and then her music hits, and then she comes to the ring. So it seems like a big botch. Beth Phoenix comes out, chases Maurice away. This distracts the Miz. He turns around, gets hit with a spear. Edge ends up winning. Edge celebrates with his wife. I mean, the match was good until they didn't need the ending, though. Beth Phoenix, in my opinion, ruined this. I don't see why she just couldn't come out, looking a bit angry. Why she couldn't run down and chase Maurice. The fact that she came out looking like an absolute psycho killer, psychopath, just, I don't know, it was too over the top for me. I didn't believe, it wasn't believable, it wasn't necessary. And for me, it actually took away part of the match. I think it definitely ruined the match. It was just not believable that Beth Phoenix would come out looking like this. So it is what it is. Apparently she was trying to pay homage to a TV series, but it just didn't really make any sense, in my opinion. And then we moved on to Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan for the WWE Raw Women's Champion. Now, I think I've made a few videos saying that I'm not a Liv Morgan fan. I don't understand why people want her to get pushed. I think she is massively overrated, but I got to be honest here, this is a really, really good match. Definitely the best match of Liv Morgan's career, and probably one of the better matches of Becky Lynch's career. Now, it wasn't perfect, it was far from perfect. Liv Morgan still looked very sloppy. She seems to like try a lot of high-fly manoeuvres, and she doesn't really look good doing them, but credit to her, she tries to, have a unique moveset, which not a lot of other women attempt. She isn't exactly great at pulling these moves off, but she tries, so it is what it is. She looked really good in this match at times. I thought she was going to beat Becky Lynch. It was a good back and forth match, and it was actually good. I enjoyed this match. The big problem is the finish botched it. Becky Lynch was supposed to, you could see her trying to put her feet on the ropes. Liv Morgan's going for her finisher. Becky Lynch counters with the Becky bottom, or whatever she calls it, the women's bottom, I don't know, the man bottom, I don't know what she calls it, but she hits it, and you can see her trying to put her feet on the ropes to get a bit of leverage. She didn't do it, and then she ends up beating Liv Morgan clean, which I'm pretty sure wasn't the finish. So that was a bit of a failure for these two, the fact that they kind of fucked up the end there. But overall, I mean, it was a good match. I've no real complaints. Definitely a lot better than I thought it would be, so can't really complain about that. Then we move on to the Fatal 5-Way match for the WWE Championship. Seth Rollins is out first, then I believe it was Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Big E, and then Brock Lesnar. He comes out, starts off the match very quick. Big E and Lashley take themselves to the outside. Lesnar starts hitting a bunch of German suplexes on Owens and Rollins. At one stage it looked like all Owens landed on his neck, but he's got that much fat around his neck, it probably padded the blow, so it gave him a soft landing. Then Lashley goes out to the outside and spears Brock Lesnar through the barricade. So we're on day 1 of 2022, and we've already seen a spear through the barricade. But the good news is, if you missed a spear through the barricade, you'll probably see another 50 throughout the rest of the year, so no need to panic. This spot's so overdone. And when it was first done, it was pretty good, but now it legit gets done every 2 days, and we've seen it. It's been overdone. We don't need to see it again, but for some reason we keep getting it. It didn't even keep Lesnar down for long, though. He was back up. Big E then done a manoeuvre to Lashley through the announce table. Kevin Owens, Rollins were beating up Lesnar. They get in the ring. Rollins and Lesnar are fighting. Rollins and Big E are fighting. Everyone's fighting in the ring. Lashley gets in. He hits a spear on Lesnar. At this moment, then Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins get taken to the outside, and they seem to just disappear from the match. Lashley then gets attacked from behind by Big E. Big E turns round, he goes to give Brock Lesnar the big ending. Lesnar drops behind him, counters it into the F5, and pins Big E. Brock Lesnar pins the WWE Champion with one F5. Didn't take one, didn't take two, didn't take three, took one. No one broke it up, no nothing. Just one F5. Big E's beaten. And then Brock Lesnar holds up the title. Brock Lesnar celebrates. He beat one member of the New Day 2 years ago, Kofi Kingston. He's beat another member of the New Day. I don't think Xavier Woods will ever win the title, but if he does, I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar will take that off him as well. And then while Brock Lesnar's celebrating, we get to see Bobby Lashley looking on the outside, looking into the ring, frustrated, and potentially we could be teasing a Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley WWE Championship match, and I really hope we get that, guys, at WrestleMania. So again, main event, really good, just very short, 8 minutes, but it was still a really, really good main event. And yeah, there seemed to be foreshadowing Brock versus Lashley here. Well, whether Lashley wins the Rumble, or I don't know how they're going to set it up, but it appears to be that's what they're going with. But of course, we can't forget about Roman Reigns. Reigns and Lesnar were still in a feud, so we don't know if that will continue or whether they'll just go with something new here. Personally, we've seen Reigns versus Lashley a lot of times. I would go with the new Lesnar versus... I mean, we've seen Lesnar versus Reigns a lot of times, so I would go with the fresh matchup, the new matchup, which is Lesnar versus Lashley at WrestleMania, and get Reigns to do something else, probably Reigns versus McIntyre on the SmackDown side. But overall, pretty good pay-per-view. I wasn't excited going into it. I don't think there was much. The build-up wasn't good apart from the main matches, but overall, it was pretty good. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because I think the last 3 matches were actually really, really good. And the opening match was good as well. There was also a backstage segment where Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss hit Drew McIntyre with a chair, and he was selling it. Looked like he had a pretty nasty injury, but overall, pretty good. No complaints, and I'll give it a 5 out of 10, guys. Main event was great, just a shame it was short. Last 3 matches were really good, so was the opener, so there you go, guys, 5 out of 10, first pay-per-view of the year. Hopefully they do get better, but yeah, it was a good start to 2002. Day 1 is a success, in my opinion. I say a success, 5 out of 10 in 2022 is actually pretty good for a show, especially when I'm rating it. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below. Will we get Lesnar versus Lashley at WrestleMania? We can only hope so, and until next time, peace.